The story begins with our prodigy, Yan Yangking, the priest of light and a healer, who is in a severely injured state. He is barely able to stand, using his staff for support. His condition is the result of betrayal. His supporting goddess, the goddess of light, has deceived them and joined forces with the demon king. Because of this betrayal, all the adventurers who had come to fight the demon king have been completely wiped out. Seeing this treachery, our hero blames the goddess, accusing her of being the reason for their defeat. However, before he can do anything, the demon king lifts him into the air with just 2 fingers and suspends him in midair. Then, with a mere motion of his hands, he crushes Yan's entire body, leaving him shattered. Just at that moment, a system window appears, displaying a message. He has obtained the Demon Lord system, transferring to the demon altar. Suddenly, Yan's eyes open, and he finds himself standing before an altar surrounded by several coffins arranged in a circular formation. Confused, he wonders why he is standing among these 10 mysterious coffins. Then, another system message appears. He has become the new Demon Lord. If he works hard to level up, he will be able to unlock these 10 legendary demons sealed within the coffins. Additionally, he acquires 2 new skills, Demon Summoning and Enslave Demon. Looking at everything around him, Yan questions whether this is some kind of joke. Could he really become the Demon Lord? But soon, determination fills his heart. If these powers can help him take revenge on the angels who betrayed him, then he will do whatever it takes. The system then instructs him to stand at the center of the altar. Following the instructions, Yan steps into the middle of the altar, which immediately activates. A surge of light energy descends upon him, granting him immense power. Then, we see a gravestone. It is Yan's gravestone. In front of it stands a young man with brown hair, who was Yan's friend. Just then, a voice from behind asks, "They even made a gravestone with his name." Hearing the voice, the brown-haired boy immediately recognizes it. It's the voice of his friend. Turning around, he sees Yan, who tells him he was just on a short break for a few days, and they already made a gravestone for him. Seeing Yan alive, the young man's lollipop falls from his mouth, and tears stream from his eyes, along with snot from his nose. He cries. He has been coming here to visit his grave for the past 5 years. Yan is shocked. Has it really been 5 years since he disappeared? To him, everything that happened felt like just a few hours. But then, looking at his friends, he say he's still only at level 2? Hearing this, the young man gets angry, thinking Yan is mocking him. Later, Yan is seen riding his friend's scooter towards the city. At the top of a mountain, there is a statue of an angel. Seeing it, Yan asks, "Who built this angel statue?" Hearing this question, his friend explains, after the final battle, the angels defeated the demons. That's why humans built this statue, to worship them. Listening to this, Yan starts recalling past events and tells his friend everything that had happened to him. Suddenly, his friend changes the topic and suggests they go to a restaurant to celebrate Yan's return, offering to treat him. However, Yan declines, saying he needs to change his clothes first, and then he will head to the dungeon. Hearing this, his friend's expression darkens. If Yan goes to the dungeon, he will need grab some money. Noticing his reaction, Yan is confused about what's wrong. His friend then tells him, a lot has changed in the past 5 years. A while later, when Yan arrives at the dungeon entrance, he realizes just how much things have changed. The price of a ticket to enter a level 1 dungeon has now skyrocketed, 80% cut of any loot adventurers find inside the dungeon. Seeing the guild members being robbed like this, Yan becomes furious and starts cursing them. Watching his reaction, his friend tries to pull him away, knowing that fighting them wouldn't be a wise choice since they are outnumbered, while he and Yan are only 2. Narrator explains that after thousands of years of fighting demons, humans finally managed to seal the entrances to the dungeons where these monsters resided. However, over time, the seals weakened, allowing demons to escape and attack the human world at any moment. As a result, countless adventurers entered the dungeons to fight them. One such adventurer team was almost entirely wiped out in a massive battle, and our hero, Yan, was the sole survivor. Sometime later, Yan and his friend find themselves inside a dungeon. Yan explains to his friend that in the past, adventurers could freely enter dungeons, but now they are required to pay a fee, and the guilds take an 80% cut of their earnings. These people are worse than dungeon bandits. Yan exclaims. His friend replies, ever since the Holy Order declared victory over the demons, the guilds no longer see dungeons as a threat. Instead, they have turned them into money-making machines. It's hard to earn anything in the dungeons anymore, and sometimes I even end up losing money. That's why I stopped leveling up. Hearing his concerns, Yan reassures him, saying, the money he lent him for the ticket, he will pay him back soon. But his friend urges him to forget about it, and instead asks why he was in such a hurry to enter the dungeon. What was his plan? Seeing his friend's curiosity, Yan reveals that his level has been reset to 1. He asks for his help in leveling up and defeating the dungeon boss. Moreover, he plans to convert all the demons into his slaves. Just then, they sense something dangerous approaching. Looking ahead, they see a level 1 giant scorpion monster heading toward them. As it gets closer, Yan's friend quickly retrieves a sword and shield from his magic storage and tells Yan to stay back while he handles the scorpion. As soon as the scorpion attacks with its pincers, he blocks it with his shield, swiftly slides under its body, and stabs his sword into its weak spot, instantly killing it and gaining 7 experience points. Impressed by how easily his friend defeated the monster, Yan instructs him to attract more creatures. They continue hunting scorpion monsters, steadily gaining experience points. After slaying numerous monsters, Yan finally reaches level 2. Upon leveling up, all the skills he obtained from an altar become unlocked, though some restrictions are still in place. After unlocking his skills, he approaches the corpses of the fallen monsters. Seeing this, his friend gets excited, as it's the first time he's witnessing something like this. Yan then activates his skill, causing a surge of energy to flow from his hands into the monster corpses. The energy fuses their body parts, forming two humanoid monsters, level 1 demon scorpion warriors. Seeing the monster, Yan's friend is shocked. After the monsters are created, Yan commands them to clear out all the minions. As soon as they receive the order, the two monsters charge at full speed, eliminating the minions one by one. Witnessing their capabilities, Yan's friend asks if the monsters can effortlessly level up even while fighting in the dungeon. Yan replies that he had considered that when he first got the system, but now, with dungeons charging entry fees and taking a cut from the earnings, every run ends up losing money. Suddenly, a spherical object rolls towards them. It turns out to be the head of one of Yan's demon slaves. Seeing this, his friend is shocked. The head then moves towards Yan and apologizes, saying it managed to clear out all the minions but couldn't defeat their boss. It wasn't even a fair match. However, unlike his friend, Yan remains calm, looking at the scorpion monster's head and saying that he already knew these two monsters would never be able to defeat the boss monster. And then, we see the boss monster, Mole King Rock. Upon seeing the boss, Yan's friend, as expected, prepares to charge in. But this time, Yan stops him and steps forward himself, telling his friend to wait for the right moment to strike. Approaching the boss, Yan raises his special finger, provoking it. In response, the boss monster lets out a thunderous roar and charges toward Yan. Just as the monster reaches him, Yan activates his Soul Tamer skill, causing the boss to freeze in place, completely unable to move. Seizing this opportunity, Yan signals his friend to attack. Without hesitation, his friend dashes in from behind and stabs his sword into the monster. However, the moment the sword lands, the Soul Tremor skill breaks, and the boss monster digs a massive hole into the ground and escapes into it. Watching this, Yan remarks that they were only lucky to have injured it. It was like using a butter knife to cut through a mountain. His friend, confused, asks, "What else could we do?" The boss is armored everywhere except for its belly and rear. Hearing this, Yan devises a new plan. The boss monster fears Soul Tremor, so it will likely attack from behind this time. Yan instructs his friend to stand right in front of the boss, within sword range. When the monster emerges, he should strike immediately. He reassures him not to worry. He will protect him if anything goes wrong. Hearing this plan, Yan's friend gets excited, knowing that Yan has rich combat experience. But Yan clarifies that he learned this strategy from his previous elite team. Suddenly, he realizes something is coming from underground. The monster bursts out from behind, and without wasting a second, Yan's friend swiftly stabs its weak point, its stomach. This enrages the boss monster even more, and in retaliation, it slashes at him with its claws, aiming to cut him down completely. But just before the attack lands, Yan uses his skill to halt the monster mid-air. Seizing this moment, he orders his friend to finish it off. Following the order, his friend swiftly slashes through the boss in a single decisive strike, cutting from one side to the other. Finally, the boss monster is defeated. As a reward, they receive 200 plus EXP, a shield, and a short dagger. Yan defeats the boss monster and, while picking up 2 items, asks his friend which one he wants. His friend chooses the shield, while Yen takes the short dagger. After clearing the dungeon, they both leave. Once outside, Yen starts getting angry at their group members again. He slams his fist on the desk and argues with their leader, a fat man, accusing him of exploiting them. He complains about the set rates forcing them to sell items at low prices, losing money on every run due to an 80% cut and a 10,000 entry fee. In response, the fat leader arrogantly tells them they should be grateful they're at least getting something instead of being robbed outright. He even threatens to start charging them for the experience points they gain from monsters if they keep complaining. Seeing Yen getting worked up, his friend tries to calm him down. However, Yan suddenly senses something strange about the fat man but doesn't act on it and decides to leave peacefully. But the fat leader refuses to let them go so easily. He claims his delicate feelings have been hurt and demands they leave the shield behind as compensation. Yan's friend hesitates, saying it was rightfully earned in the dungeon, but Yan, now visibly angry, tells him to hand over the shield. He promises to take it back soon. The scene then cuts to nighttime, showing a house where the fat leader's teammates are relaxing. Someone increases the TV volume, and the news reports that many adventurers have gone missing inside the dungeon. 2 of them discuss how their boss visits a secluded palace every week. The basement of the house is shown, where a hand serves on a plate, and the fat man is eating to it. Suddenly, a noise is heard outside. One of the men steps out to check and sees a massive rock has crushed their car. As he turns in fear, Yan appears behind him. The man begins trembling, sensing danger. Moments later, he staggers back to his group, visibly shaken. Yan had used his soul tremor skill on him. Before they can react, Yan jumps on this guy back and kicks one of them straight through a window. Another man conjures a fireball and prepares to throw it at Yan. But before he can, Yan swiftly slashes his hand, waist, and leg. He then uses soul tremor on the remaining 2, immobilizing them. Yan heads toward the basement door, feeling an airy, cold, and sinister aura from behind it. Entering, he's seen a half-body corpse and several skulls. The fat leader smirks and tells Yan that he's next on the menu, accusing him of challenging someone beyond his level as a mere level 2 adventurer. But Yan, unfazed, reminds him that he promised to come back for what was his. The fat man conjures 2 fireballs in his hands, determined to make Yan regret his arrogance in his stomach. As soon as the big guy speaks, he throws 2 fireballs toward Yan. However, Yan dodges both fireballs and counterattacks, forcing the big guy to struggle to avoid the attack. Seeing Yan's speed, the big guy is shocked, recalling that Yan had registered as a level 1 healer. He cannot understand how a healer could move so fast. At that moment, Yan's attack lands on the big guy's face and both his hands. Seeing Yan approach, the big guy suddenly opens his mouth and releases a massive hand from it. Simultaneously, there is a powerful blast form. A level 2 demon emerges from within his body and begins to fly in the sky. As soon as the demon leaves the body, it realizes it had been fighting a level 2 adventurer. Moreover, it had burned its host's entire body. If he come out the battle, it would need to find a new host. While the demon is lost in thought, Yan sees the opportunity and activates his enslaved demon skill. Seeing this, the demon quickly moves away and starts fleeing, ensuring that Yan cannot cast his spell on it. While running, the demon attacks Yan with a powerful purple flame. Yan dodges, but the ground where the fire lands is burned completely. Due to the attack, the people standing below are burned to ashes. Witnessing the demon's terrifying power, Yan realizes he must change the battlefield, as the current location is not safe from the dodge demon's attacks. Thinking this, he starts running toward the forest. Seeing Yen run, the demon chases after him, taunting that no matter how much he hides, his hellfire is not ordinary flames. It will turn everything into ashes. As the chase continues, the demon suddenly stops at one place and starts searching for Yen. However, Yen unexpectedly attacks from above. The demon manages to dodge but suffers a minor cut on its foot. Surprised by the sneak attack, the demon instantly counterattacks with its hell flame, but Yen skillfully dodges again and swings away using its tail, escaping further. The demon, determined, continues chasing at full speed. Due to their intense battle, the entire forest begins to burn. After a long chase, Yen reaches a dead end with no way forward. Seeing this, the demon laughs and creates a massive fire cannon, throwing it toward Yen with the intention of completely destruct him. The explosion is so massive that the entire mountain crumbles. Not seeing any sign of Yen, the demon assumes that he has been reduced to ashes and starts thinking about finding a better host body. However, at that moment, a hole suddenly opens beneath the demon, causing it to fall. From that hole, a shield boss monster emerges, the boss monster that Yen had enslaved earlier in first dungeon. The boss monster grabs the demon tightly. Shocked, the demon looks at the place where Yen was supposed to be and realizes that Yen had escaped through a hole just in time. Realizing his mistake, the demon furiously prepares another fire attack to break free. However, just then, a chain suddenly wraps around its neck, one of Yen's powers. As Yen approaches, he activates Enslave Demon skill, putting the demon under his control. He orders the demon to surrender all rare and valuable items in its possession. The demon obeys and retrieves all its treasures and gold from its magic space, placing them before Yen. Just as Yen is examining the items, a system screen appears with a warning. Target is about to break free from enslavement. The moment the skill breaks, the demon returns to its normal state and launches a direct attack on Yen. However, Yen quickly dodges this attack and, without hesitation, Yen beheads the demon in a single strike, earning 300 EXP and leveling up to level 3. Upon leveling up, Yen gains a new skill, Lord Privilege. After defeating the demon, he uses his power to make it his servant. With this, Yen now has 2 demons collected within his demon space. After making the demon his loyal servant, Yen instructs it to search for unregulated dungeons. Since it is a demon, it should be able to sense the locations of other monsters. The demon accepts the order. Scene cuts to the next morning, where a delivery boy arrives at Yan's friend's house with a package. Seeing the parcel, the boy is surprised and tells the delivery guy that he hasn't ordered anything. However, since it was free, he decides to keep it and opens the package to see what's inside. Inside the package, Yan's friend is shocked to find a violet-colored shield, some gold bars, and a note written by Yan. Seeing these items, he becomes very happy. Meanwhile, the delivery boy, standing outside the room, informs his boss that the package has been delivered. Yan receives the message, but the delivery boy was actually a fire demon monster who had changed his appearance. On the other hand, Yan arrives at a grand temple while talking telepathically with his shield-armored boss demon. Through telepathy, the fire demon confirms that this is a temple of the light god. The demon explains that the power of the light angel is spread across multiple temples, and destroying one weakens her slightly. After hearing this, Yan tells his shield boss demon not to fight for now, saying he will summon it when necessary. Meanwhile, back at the ruined building where Yan fought the fire demon, some people are searching for someone. A man dressed in pink clothes asks one of his subordinates if they have found his brother. The subordinate, a level 3 adventurer named Chuntong, is the treasury management head of the Scorpion Guild and the brother of the demon's former host. Upon Chuntong's question, his subordinate replies that they haven't found anyone and that everything was turned to ash. He mentions that this was a time-based fire spell, one they had never seen before, and that no low-level adventurer registered in the guild could use such magic. Hearing this, Chuntong orders an investigation into all adventurers registered that night. Most importantly, he insists that they must find out what happened to the 10 million gold. The dead are dead, but money is all that matters. If the angel finds out that they lost such a fortune due to negligence, she may never support them again. This money is the same gold Yan took from the fat demon. The scene shifts inside the temple, where Yan has already begun wreaking havoc. He has defeated some knights, while others have surrounded him. Looking at them, he tells them this is their last chance to surrender and drop their weapons since they were once part of the light faction. However, the knights ignore his words and attack. Dodging, Yan beheads one guard. Another guard swings his sword at him, but Yan uses soul tremor, making the guard lose balance and collapse. Seeing this, the remaining knights charge at him. Yan casts soul tremor again, but this time, their shields weaken his spell's effect. However, Yan performs an acrobatic stunt, using his agility to regain balance and eliminate the knights one by one. Watching his guards fall so easily, their leader swings his massive axe, unleashing a powerful strike that destroys everything in front of him, even killing some of his own knights. Smoke and dust fill the area. As the dust clears, Yen mocks the leader, saying, "To deal with me, you wiped out your own men, but it's a good thing I have my shield." Yen had summoned his shield-armored boss demon to block the attack. Seeing Yen's taunt, the leader, now furious, launches another axe attack at him. Scene cuts elsewhere. A terrified man is hiding against a wall, but suddenly, someone approaches him, holding a severed head. The man pleads for his life, begging the other not to kill him. The mysterious figure in a coat shows him a photo and asks a question. The photo is of Yan's friend. The man recognizes him and realizes it's Dingfeng. Seeing his friend's severed head, he panics and reveals Dingfeng's address to the mysterious figure, pleading for permission to leave. The figure grants permission. The terrified man tries to run, but the coat-wearing figure, who is actually an assassin, smirks and casts a spell. Magic Blade, Hidden Heart. With a simple hand gesture, he slices the man into 2 pieces. Dingfeng is unaware of the impending danger. At his house, the doorbell rings. Thinking it's another unexpected package delivery, he opens the door, only to come face to face with the assassin, smiling coldly at him. The next chapter starts from here, where Yen has reached the chamber of the main boss of the Light Temple. Seeing him enter so easily, the boss is shocked and says, "How did a bug like you manage to get in here? What is the overseer doing? Is he asleep?" Hearing the overseer's name, Yen reacts as if he has met him before. Without saying anything, he throws a severed head from his magic space toward the boss and says, "He is indeed asleep, but he will never wake up again." Seeing the severed head of his subordinate, the boss is stunned and says, "He defeated an LV3 elite without a scratch. It seems he is much stronger than an average adventurer." However, he smirks and adds, "But he has no idea who he is up against now." With that, the boss unsheathes his sword, ready to fight. His level is too high to be seen. Yen, wasting no time, casts his soul tremor skill to trap him, but due to the boss's high level, the skill is interrupted. Without hesitation, the boss dashes at full speed and launches his first attack at Yen. Yen dodges, but the boss doesn't stop and immediately launches another attack. This time, Yen blocks with his dagger, but the sheer power of the strike sends him flying far through the air. Regaining control midair, Yen counters by attacking the night boss with Hellfire, a power he obtained after defeating the fat demon. However, the night boss blocks it by forming a shield around himself. Despite that, his shield shatters upon impact. Shocked, the night boss thinks, "Among shields of the same level, my light armor has the strongest defense. Yet, how did such a low-tier fire skill manage to break it?" While he is lost in thought, Yen swiftly moves behind him and thrusts his dagger into the night boss's neck. The night boss scoffs and says, "Using smoke to sneak attack. Isn't that a bit unethical?" Yen smirks and replies, "My friend Tilda, everything is fair in love and war. Besides, you serve the light goddess who betrayed humanity. Where is your morality?" Hearing this, the night boss suddenly drops to his knees, pretending to die. But the next moment, he takes advantage of the opening and counterattacks at full speed. Yen barely manages to dodge in time and notices that the night boss has already healed his wounds using healing magic. Yen thinks, back when he was a priest, even his healing magic couldn't bring a dead man back to life. How is he doing this? The night boss then charges at Yen and sends him flying once again. This time, he infuses his sword with energy and fires a powerful light beam attack at Yen. As the attack fades, the night boss looks up at the sky and assumes, this time, Yen's game is over. Satisfied, he turns towards his throne and mutters, "What is wrong with Jung Scorpion Guild's members? They can't even guard the door properly, letting this trash get inside." Just then, he hears footsteps behind him. Shocked, he turns around and is stunned to see Yen still alive. Yen smirks and starts telling him a story. "One of my comrades owned a rare magic stone mine, but the Jung Scorpion Guild stole it. When he resisted, they beat him half to death. Thinking he could get justice, he went to the Adventurer Tribunal. But instead of justice, he was punished for resource theft, and even had his adventurer qualifications revoked. And the real criminal? Because he was an elite member of a major guild, he was never punished." Then Yen narrows his eyes and adds, "And the one who made that ridiculous ruling back then, was he who was still serving in the tribunal at the time?" After listening Yen's story, he got angry and he activated his special skill. Glowing with golden energy, speaks confidently. He admits that his previous attack failed, but only because he underestimated him. The warrior grips his sword tightly as golden lightning crackles around him. But this time, he won't make the same mistake. His sword surges with unstoppable energy. He's preparing an attack that cannot be dodged. He put his sword in ground and a massive glowing sword appears in the sky, crackling with golden lightning, and his skill name is Light Judgment. Seeing his attack, Yen creates some distance between himself and him. A flaming golden sword soars through the sky, locked onto its target. Observes the attack. Sensing its power, a determined look appears on the protagonist's face as he's not panicking. Instead, he smirks. Looks like he has a trump card up his sleeve. Yen raises his hand as a fiery shield manifests around him. This is the Burning Time Shield, an ability that consumes mana, distorts time, and weakens enemy attacks. The warrior boss watches in shock, realizing how Yen survived his light flash attack. But this time, he's not leaving anything to chance. The warrior unleashes a final, enormous golden sword from the sky. Yen grits his teeth. Will his Burning Time Shield hold against this monstrous attack? The enemy smirks, acknowledging the protagonist's unexpected strength. For a mere level 3, conjuring a shield of this magnitude, he must admit, he is a bit stronger than the average rookie. Suddenly, the golden sword cracked against the flaming shield. The golden sword and the burning shield collide, unleashing a massive explosion. The battlefield is engulfed in flames as the sheer force of the attack shakes the air. The night boss think, did he put too much power into that move? As the smoke settles, a figure emerges. The enemy's eyes widen in disbelief. He survived, not just barely, but completely unscathed. A smirk forms on the hero's face, he think, transforming his fire demon Salve Pondi's burning time flame skill into a shield. It seems it retains the same unique effect. This isn't just defense. It's a complete countermeasure. The very laws of time itself are bending in his favor. Any attack directed at him loses its full impact, burning away before it can cause real damage. As long as the opponent's level doesn't completely suppress mine, the burn time effect can even apply to their attack skills. After this, he knows this is his moment. With a determined gaze, he clenches his fist. Yen activates his strongest ability, Lord's Privilege. Soul exploding inferno. Flames erupt from his body, swirling into a devastating vortex of destruction. He raises his hand, gathering all his remaining mana into a single earth-shattering strike. His enemies stare in shock as the sheer force of his power distorts the very air around them. The protagonist raises his hand and releases a powerful energy attack. The force of the blast spreads across the battlefield, creating a massive explosion. Seeing Yen attack, the night boss raises their sword, ready to defend against the attack. He creates a massive light shield around him. The attack collides with the shield, creating a massive explosion. The sheer force of the impact leaves deep cracks in the ground, sending shockwaves across the area. As the dust settles, a massive crater is left behind, a clear sign of the attack's devastating power. The battlefield is now in ruins, with smoke rising from the impact zone. Despite the destructive force of the attack, the night boss remains standing. They look down at the battlefield, seemingly unfazed by the damage. The night boss acknowledges the protagonist's strength, admitting surprise at their resilience. However, they make it clear that this level of damage is not enough to bring them down. Just as the night boss prepares to heal his wound, something shocking happens. His usual regenerative powers fail. He's unable to heal. His confident smirk fades into panic as dark energy spreads through his body. Could this be the protagonist's secret technique? The once mighty warrior is now struggling. Black energy consumes him, his body crumbles, and he falls to his knees. The protagonist stands victorious, delivering a chilling reminder. This is the second time the night boss has kneeled before him, a light knight to have such soft knees. Seeing himself losing, the night boss angrily tells Yan to let him go, saying that he will do anything. Yan, however, responds that he had completely forgotten about finishing this story. With that, he resumes his story from the middle. His companion, who had lost his adventure qualification, had to find other jobs to survive. But due to the economic recession and fear of the Jung family, no one gave him employment. Everyone mocked him, saying, "Isn't he the fool who angered the Jung family? Now he can't even get a job." Well, who else can he blame but himself for not knowing his place? If he had stayed quiet and played dumb, everything would have been fine. But no, he had to cause trouble at the tribunal. The Jung family members are ruthless. Going against them is a one-way ticket to misery. If I were in his place, I would have preferred to die. My friends and I collected some money to help him during this difficult time. But after knocking on his door for a long time and asking the landlord to open it, we found out. We were too late. He had committed suicide. Yan, thinking about all this, refuses to let the night boss go. He takes out his sword and, despite the knight's attempts to reason with him, Yan doesn't listen. Instead, he swiftly beheads him. This grants Yan 400 EXP, allowing him to reach level 5. As a result, he gains 2 new skills, Twin Summons and Demon Form. Looking at his system screen, Yan starts thinking. Speaking of his servant, he suddenly remembers that he had assigned another task in a different dungeon for experience farming. Why didn't I receive any additional experience? If he had gained some, he would have reached level 5 before facing the boss, making the final battle easier. Curious, Yan connects with his summoned beast, Pondi, and asks, Pondi, are you being lazy? Where is the EXP that I hired you to collect? Hearing Yan's question, Pondi replies that there has been a bit of a sticky situation on his end, and he was handling it. The scene then shifts to where Pondi is fighting an assassin. Meanwhile, Yan's friend, Kotel, is sitting against a wall in a miserable state, severely injured. The assassin, noticing Pondi standing between him and Dingfeng, angrily asks, "Who is he? Why is he interfering in my business?" Hearing this, Pondi casually responds, "I don't care if you massacre everyone in the city, but the person behind me is my boss's friend. You are not allowed to touch him." Hearing this, Dingfeng realizes, Yan sent someone. Be warned, this guy is strong. A few hours earlier, when Dingfeng had opened the door for the assassin had immediately grabbed his face and thrown him out of the window. As a result, Dingfeng fell from the building and lost consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself in an abandoned suburban parking lot, where the two are still fighting. The assassin was so fast that Pondi couldn't even see him. Before he could react, the assassin appeared right in front of him and, with a powerful attack, sent him flying backward. Using his invisible blade skill, the assassin created a sharp blade on the wall behind Pondi. As he was flying toward it, Pondi sensed the danger and, using his wind magic, Tower Gale, redirected his body midair. Seeing this, the assassin was shocked. How did he sense and dodge his invisible blade? Pondi, looking in the direction of the invisible blade, realized he couldn't see anything, but he could still feel faint magical fluctuations in that spot. If I could sense it and react instantly, then this isn't just luck. I need to stay cautious, he thought. While he was lost in thought, the assassin suddenly closed the distance and attempted to punch him. Pondi dodged, causing the assassin's punch to land on the parking lot wall, creating a deep crack and dent due to the sheer force. But before Pondi could react, the assassin immediately kicked him in the face, sending him flying once again toward the invisible blade he had set up earlier. However, Pondi managed to dodge it once more. This time, though, the assassin made a hand gesture, causing the invisible blade to move toward Pondi. Before he could react, the blade left a deep cut on his body, making him fall to the ground, injured. Seeing him wounded, the assassin walked up to him and said, "I don't know how you managed to avoid my attacks, but my invisible blades aren't stationary. Can move too." As Pondi struggled to get up, a system notification appeared before him. His master has shared a skill with him. Twin Summon. Use it now to reverse summon the master here. Seeing this, Pondi immediately cast the skill. Crimson energy started gathering around him. The assassin was about to finish him off when suddenly a bright flash of light occurred, and Pondi vanished. The assassin looked around in confusion, searching for him. Then, he noticed Pondi, Dingfeng, and another guy standing nearby. Seeing this, the assassin thought, "What is happening?" Even his eyes, which are trained for high-speed combat, couldn't keep up. Yen had arrived. He walked up to his injured friend and asked, "He is okay? How did he let yourself get beaten this badly?" Hearing this, Dingfeng replied, "At least he is alive, thanks to his subordinate." As the assassin carefully observed Yen, the assassin suddenly realized something. He remembered Yen is his second target. What a coincidence. He walked right into death himself. Yen, however, simply raised a finger and said, "It's not his turn yet." But he didn't even bother looking at the assassin while saying this. Seeing this arrogant behavior, the assassin was shocked. Yen then gave an order to Pondi, "Take Dingfeng somewhere safe. He will heal both of them later. Without hesitation, Pondi grabbed Dingfeng and swiftly carried him away. The assassin, angered by Yan's arrogance, immediately dashed forward and attacked. But before his strike could land, Yan casually slapped his throat with his left hand. The sheer force of the slap sent the assassin flying backward. Blood gushed from his mouth as he crashed onto the ground. Who is this man? The assassin thought in horror. Even if he lied about his level during the registration process, I know all the powerful people in this region. But I've never seen this guy before. Suddenly, with just one step, Yan appeared right in front of him. His speed was so overwhelming that even the assassin, who prided himself on his speed, couldn't see him move. But instead of panicking, the assassin smirked. Yan had walked right into his trap. He thought, now he's surrounded by his invisible blades. The assassin, believing he had successfully trapped and killed Yan, begins to feel pleased with himself. However, he soon notices that his invisible blades did not pierce Yan's body. Instead, they shattered upon impact with a golden shield that enveloped Yan entirely. Seeing this, the assassin is shocked. Yan, looking at him, remarks that he is a little disappointed. His grandmother could have done more damage than that. As Yan turns to leave, he tells the assassin that he is not even worth killing. Instead, he instructs him to deliver a message to his master. Do not mess with my people again, or I will wipe out your entire guild. Enraged, the assassin gathers energy in both hands and casts his initial slash skill, clapping his hands together to send numerous blade slices flying toward Yan. The attacks cut through everything in their path as they approach Yan. However, due to the golden shield, none of the attacks harm him, though a section of the parking lot is destroyed. Seizing the opportunity, the assassin moves at high speed, appearing behind Yan. Yan notices him, but before he can react, the assassin conjures a small red sword in his hand and launches an attack. Yan instinctively creates another shield around himself, but this time, the sword penetrates through it. Seeing this, the assassin smirks and says that this demon-slaying sword had cost him nearly everything. Its power is supposed to be unstoppable against shield users like Yan. However, Yan interrupts him, looking closely at the sword. The assassin is shocked to see that, instead of piercing Yan's body, the sword had stopped upon contact with yet another red shield. And now, cracks were forming on the blade itself. Before the assassin can react, Yan delivers a powerful kick to his face, sending him crashing through a wall and soaring into the sky. Yan follows up by casting flames around his legs and delivering another kick, sending the assassin hurtling toward a mountain. Meanwhile, Pondi and Dingfeng, who were watching from a distance, look at each other in amazement. Pondi is shocked at how quickly Yan has mastered his skills, even combining them with his own techniques to enhance them further. Seeing this, Pondi becomes even more eager to serve Yan. Yan then approaches the fallen assassin and finds his remains. A system notification appears before him, can be used for demon conversion. This means Yan has the ability to convert any human he kills into a demon. The scene shifts to a dungeon where a masked man with his hands tied is being ruthlessly sliced in two. The executioner, named Zhu Yin, gains over 50 XP from the kill. He is an elite adventurer of the Scorpion Guild who levels up by killing other adventurers. At that moment, someone addresses him. You, working hard to get stronger, second brother. Zhu Yin looks up and sees none other than the Scorpion Guild's master, Zhu Tong, his older brother. Zhu Yin asks why his brother is here, since he has no interest in leveling up. Zhu Tong replies that it's true. He has no interest in leveling up. He just wants to know why Zhu Yin always covers the faces of the adventurers he kills. Is it because you're afraid of seeing their faces in your nightmares? He asks. Hearing this, Zhu Yin laughs like a psychopath. Nightmares? Don't be ridiculous, he says. He cover their faces so he can focus entirely on their eyes. And then, he watch as the light of life slowly fades from them. That is his ultimate thrill. After saying this, Zhu Yin and once asks why he is really here. Zhu Tong finally reveals his purpose. He is here to deliver something to him. He then smirks and takes out his phone from his coat pocket, showing Zhu Yin a photo of Yan.